to be on the shadows. Some people.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Uche.
Hope the weekend is going well.
Yeah. Yes. Thank God.
Okay. So today's class, initially I was meant to handle regression, which is a supervised learning technique used when target output is a continuous value. So we use regression to predict how much or how many. So there are various types of regression and it can be used in different scenarios. But today, what I might just want us to do will be something straightforward, simple, in the sense that we've had the session for some weeks now. So it might just be best to, if possible, hear what we've learned one by one, just to make the class so we don't just keep teaching. So we just want to use today to like a retrospection of what we've learned so far, even if you've just learned how to do basic charts or how to differentiate the various types of data, be it integer and the rest of them. So if that's what we've learned so far, it will be very much appreciated if we just one by one, feel free, you unmute yourself and you just tell us what you've learned, and we'll continue from there. So I don't know
Okay,
if
so guys,
that's
you can unmute yourself. We just want to get a feel of how the classes have been. Like, what have you learned? What have you put in practice? You know, coming up from the what's it called? The task that was given last week. How was the challenge? Just want to get feedback, basically, before we continue, just to be sure that the labors of the week pass, bearing fruit, right? So feel free to
Hello,
unmute yourself. Yeah, yeah.
oh,
Hi, Henry.
okay. Good evening, everyone. So far so good. The journey has been interesting. I've added so much knowledge. With regards the class, I've learned the basics of transforming data with the necessary codes, how to transform data, clean it up and make it ready for analysis. I've also learned how to visualize the Python using Python and pie charts, histogram, and the rest of it to interpret data. And I also learned the machine learning aspect of it. Initially, it used to be I used to see it like a foreign language, but I think this program made it very easy and different from what I used to think it is. How to call up the respective model that we need in order to train our data, how to split data into test, into train and the tests and the rest of them. And I still need to brush myself up on how best to interpret data, and I believe before the end of the program, um, I would have made good improvement. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Henry. We appreciate your feedback. So, anybody, feel free, just unmute yourself so we get to understand what the progress has been so far and how to forge ahead.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ella.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Um, First of all, I want to thank the organizers. This has been really interesting. For me, I've never been a computer science student. I actually um read agric in school. So this is like my first time of experiencing all this. But with the way you guys have taught us and led us, it's actually been easy to understand and follow with practice. And oh, I know as time goes on, I'll get better with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ella.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Samuel.
Okay, so far I've like the previous person said, I've not been in the computer science field, but I just have this notch for numbers, data, and everything. And the classes so far has helped me break down a lot of terminologies and understanding a lot of things. Because when you're going through online tutorials, you might not be able to probably ask questions since it's pre-recorded, but this one has actually helped, and you can always, where you don't understand, you can always bring back the facilitator down to where you are, and then he will take out time to explain to you. Although I'm still finding it difficult to understand certain things, but I can tell for a fact that so far my understanding has greatly improved. It's just like you said, it's a boot camp, so we just have to take our time to probably learn other things too. Yeah. So it's the experience has been great so far. And so far I can tell for a fact that more than 90% of what's have been taught so far is in my head. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Samuel.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Chika.
For me, so far, I would say that it has been enlightening. And for example, I've been trying to learn Python. I'm trying to switch into data analysis, so I've been trying to learn the Python language, and it seems kind of scary to me. I've been watching YouTube videos, and it seems kind of scary, but you are able to break it down into a layman understanding in such a way whereby I was able to understand how to import file, make use of the Colab, Google Colab and other stuff. So far from my own end, I come to evaluate myself. I would say at least 70% of what has been taught, I am able to grasp that. And with constant personal training, I'll be able to improve and probably cover up the remaining 30%. I think the remaining 30% is left for me to do that with constant training. But so far with the diction, the language of instruction, I was able to grasp at least 70% of what has been taught. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, and another person, just feel free, unmute yourself and Even if you've not practiced it, you can just feel free, unmute yourself, you talk, because the idea
For
or
the assignment I was given, I did it, I practiced it, but I think I went into a place where I was a bit confused. So I don't know if it's okay to just probably say it here.
you can say it.
Okay, so where I actually got confused was the part where they said something about only embarked to be the what's it called? Sorry, let me bring up the
Label.
the label. So I think because when I use the label to be embarked, I think I had an accuracy score of 1.0. So I don't know if I was wrong. I'm confused then.
So, but your accuracy score was 1.0.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I got something like, I don't know.
So the other
1.0 should be 100% if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So
yes.
I'm shocked because I don't know if it's accurate, but for the other ones, the survive distribution, I did a pie chart with that. Same thing with gender distribution and impact distribution.
Is it okay to ask what is the percentage of your train
The train and
your train
test.
that your train and test data?
Okay. So my train, let me bring that up. Just give me a minute, please.
No problem.
Okay. So I do ET train and test. Extreme right train. Text size 0.2. think I think that's the part I'm a bit confused because train tests, I don't think I used a percentage because what I have here is X train, X test, and then I did test size to be 0.2, it states 42. So I think from there I was a bit confused.
So as you use your test to be 0.2, what do you use for your train? Should be the balance of it.
Yes, 0.2. So I didn't use any. The test is 0.2. So I think the train should be 0.8 in
Yes.
this case. Yes.
So maybe what you do, just go through it again, because like in Python or in anything you are doing, you might just miss one step, and that step will make it difficult for the solution to be complete or to be correct. So it might just be a situation, if you can quietly, maybe in your quiet time, just go through it step by step to understand if you use the right syntax or the right percentage, because
Okay.
that's also what would have caused it to just be
Okay.
one.
All right. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. So, is there any other person that wants to talk on what they've learned? So, I think there's nobody else. So, for today, just to be able to like it's retro section or summary of what we've learned. I don't know if all of us can we say we can at least do the basic things, import data, view the first few rows, understand the types of data on each column. Can we do that, or is this something you want us to do? Because I think it's not everyone that wants to talk at this point in time. So, okay. So using I think we've shared a couple of data sets in the class over this week. So use any data set you
Hello.
like. Sorry, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I was talking before and maybe you are not hearing me. That's why I have to end the call and enter again. So
Okay,
I joined the
sorry.
call late. I believe we are reviewing the process thus far, right?
Yes,
If I'm correct.
yes.
Okay, I'm Azubuike Prince by name, calling him from Oka, Nigeria. Okay, so it's been, I don't know if it's up to 6 weeks, but it's been awesome. I have looked for Sachinedu here. He's not here. I don't know whether he's on the call. I don't think he's on the call. But I really want to say a very big thank you to the organizing team, Sastan, Sachinedu, and the other guy, maybe Suche, right? Okay, so it's been amazing. Then talking about the way Sachinedu teaches, he's a very fantastic teacher. He's very good, and the way he used real life and analysis to just start explaining some certain things. I'm also a teacher, so that's why I'm saying that he teaches very well.
Okay.
Then to the assignment, I did my assignment, but I wish he was on the call because I believe that was why Samuel is having an issue. Because when I got to that point, I have to do another thing. Okay, if you look at the assignment, Samuel, I believe you can hear me. If you look at the assignment, Sachinedu said that we should do one hot encoding. After we do one hot encoding, we should now use embark as our label. So I believe from all we have been taught, classification model is what is it called? A kind of modeling or train of data that you give both your y and your x, meaning that you give both your input and your output. Okay, so and I believe that label is supposed to be a single column. Okay, I believe that label is supposed to be a single column. So that impact have letters S, Q, and C. And from the last class we had, when you do one hot encoding on embark, it divides that column into three, which is embark underscore C, embark underscore Q, and embark underscore X. Now, when you now make that your Y, it means that you're making your Y to be a list of three columns. I don't know whether you're understanding me, instead of just a single column that we had for survived, right? So I don't know whether it was a mistake from the question, but what did that made me have a reasonable answer or a reasonable output was that I use mapping, because the problem with that embark is that it's not in digital, it's not in digits, it's not in integer, it's an alphabet. So what I did actually, I used mapping strategy to map that embark into 012, which Sachin also taught us. So when I map 012, is a single column housing 0, 1, or 2. So I now use the one hot encoding on the sex. So I have female, sex underscore female and sex underscore male, which you now later do your casting and turn it to 1, 0, right? So when you do such a thing, if you now do your testing and your training and testing, you will be getting, because I got a very beautiful output. My accuracy was actually, let me check. My accuracy was 86%. Yeah, 0.86. And that of the precision and all that. I needed our teacher to confirm whether what I did was right. So I cannot I'm not stating that's the rule or that's the correct thing to do, but I'm just saying that in my thinking and trying to get around it, this is what I did and this is what I got. So I wish Sachin Edu is there to clarify us. But so far, oh my God, coming out to teach data analytics with a zero free payment is, I must give it to you guys. You guys did wonderfully, or you are doing wonderfully well. God bless you. This is all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Azubike. Thank you. So we thank everybody for their good words and also for the organizers as well. We thank them, and even with the organizers, for the students to even be available. So it's also a good, it's a good, it's a good way to go. So it shows that what is being taught is also being put into practice, because you need time to learn and you also need time to practice, so you can at least do them at your spare, or when you're free or when you're less busy, and you'll be able to come out with positive solutions. So it's a good approach. So we thank everyone for joining in. We thank everyone for being part of the class so far. So I just wanted to know if, at least from all the feedback we've heard, it shows that the basic, we are up to speed with that. And it shows we know what is expected of us in terms of importing, calling out the data, doing the basic exploratory data analysis, and also splitting the data into test and train, and the modeling that is associated with it. So we have different types of machine learning algorithms. So I don't know, do we know them? Do we have an idea of them? So feel free and then unmute your mic and just answer the question.
Please repeat the question.
The types of machine learning algorithm. So must have been
Okay,
machine learning. So what are the types?
Okay, let me answer. Okay, so from what Mr. Chinedu taught us, we have two types of uh, machine learning. We have the supervised and the unsupervised machine learning. And these algorithms were divided or grouped into these supervised or unsupervised. So what we have been doing, what we have been using to train the data is supervised algorithm, where we started talking about decision trees, logistic regressions. We also talked about linear regressions, and I think that's the three that we actually talked about. But what we use for now is logistic regression and decision trees. So that's just what we have been doing so far. But we have not touched that of unsupervised machine learning.
Okay. For unsupervised, so like you said, you got the answer. So, right? But in some cases or in some scenarios or in some, if you go through some this thing textbooks, they now include what we call semi-supervised.
Semi-supervised. Yeah, he
Yes.
also talked about that.
So it depends on the material. Some we go for that to do some, but for beginners, that supervised and unsupervised is the basic, because every other approach will rely on your knowledge from these basic ones. So, and in terms of the unsupervised, so the unsupervised is there are no target or output column, but in supervised, there are some columns you use as your target and output column. So that's just the basic difference. So for supervised, we have the regression part and the classification ones. So where for regression, we have linear regression, SVR, then classification, we have the likes of decision tree, random forest, KNN, SVM. So those are like the basics algorithm, which is supervised and unsupervised for machine learning. So for the unsupervised, we do, so it can be categorized into two like subcategories. So we have the ones for clustering and the dimensional reduction. So for clustering, that's where you see the likes of k-means clustering, hierarchical clustering. So for dimensionality reduction, we have a PCA, so principal component analysis. So these are quite, um, the name alone will put the person off. So, but it's best we've started with the supervised one and the basic ones we've been able to learn so far. So that was a good approach. So what about types of the data types? And feel free, just tell us what you think or what you know is the answer. So there are no wrong or right answers. If it's right, if it's wrong, we'll just point the person in the right direction. So please feel free to unmute yourself and just answer. Today we want to do, so we don't just, life is a marathon, not a sprint. So we take them step by step. We might run to the finish line and it will be we've left certain people behind. So if we can give everyone the opportunity to be up to speed on what we've taught, and by next week we'll continue on that momentum. So what data types do we know? Have we used what data types do we even know before this class, and what additional knowledge do we know now? So feel free, you can just
Then
talk to us.
the data types I know integer, floats, string, boolean.
Okay. So before
Okay,
the
so to add to what Uche said, okay, so in this class, we started learning about lists. We learned about topo. We learned about dictionary. So that's the ones that was added in the class. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Olubike. So it shows that at least we are following with what has been taught. Then in terms of all the various tasks that we've had, what are the challenges we faced? And like in the terms, the previous one we did charts, pie charts, histogram, and the rest of them. So were they straightforward? Were they easy to understand? So, so you can feel free or mute yourself and just talk through what you've learned and what you've been able to put into practice on the visualization aspect, so the exploratory data analysis aspect.
Sorry, can you repeat your question, sir?
Okay, I said in terms of the visualization, the charts and the rest of them, so were they straightforward or was it difficult for us to be able to understand them? And have we even practiced them on our various times? So it will not just be based on what was taught in the class. Did we go home, do certain, try new data sets using the same line of codes, but different data set just to visualize and see what it looks like?
Okay, so concerning the previous class we had with you, I think the one of the issues I just encountered was just the code itself, probably using the naming of the naming here basically, because when I practiced it, I could see that I still had errors. So when I go back to look at the line of code, I'll notice where there was a naming error. So that's just it. So the issue I just have is just naming errors, and I just go ahead and then correct those errors. Aside from that, because it's the same code, aside from that, no issue.
Okay. So, the programming language, not just Python, are case sensitive. So that's one thing we need to always have at the back of our mind when writing line of code, because you might think you've done it well, but that A might be capital A or the B might be small b. So issues like that will create a lot of syntax error, and you'll be trying to understand where the issue is, but it will look so difficult. So at times that's lowercase and uppercase, we should always look out for it. So thank you, Samuel, for that. So, but did we go ahead to use other data sets to try them to see, like even the assignments that I was given the last time, you can use data sets. I don't know if we have a Kaggle account. So because they have lots and lots of data sets.
Yeah, there was a link Stanley shared with us. Although it's not all the data sets, it's not all the links that you click that could give us data, but the ones that had data in them, I downloaded and I used one of them for it.
Okay, so I will put the link again for this one. So I think that the well known in terms of data sets. So if you click on that link I just shared on the chat box, you could go to data set options and you see all the various data sets. If you have an account here as well, you can upload your profile. So to also help you build portfolio, because at the end of this, the idea is for you to be able to go out there, get some, even if it's an online gig or proper physical job, but if you can put all your tasks or your ideas in sites like this or GitHub, proper portfolio document sites, or OneDrive, you can, since or Google Drive, sorry, since Google has Google Colab, you can also create your portfolio on that notebook where, after each line of code, you can now write a text of what you've done, the challenges you face. Like Samuel, you talked about the naming case sensitivity. So at the end of it, you can still put all those as the challenges you face. So just to give those looking at your work idea of what you've done, and possible challenges that can be faced in situations like that or when carrying out projects that have to do with that. So in our spare time, we can download other data sets and use it to try out various things. So thank you. Then in terms of the machine learning part, so is there anybody confident enough to give us like the rundown of what is expected before you go to check if your accuracy level? So what are the step-by-step process? You don't need to tell us the line of code, just what you understand by the process itself. You can feel free and unmute yourself. So today we just want to understand what we've learned and how to forge ahead. So
Okay. Once you're given the raw data, you upload it, like import it. Then you have to clean the data, check if there are missing values, then remove or drop any missing values.
okay.
Then now go ahead to split it to features and labels for the testing and training. And then we choose our algorithm that we're going to use.
Okay.
Am I getting it?
Hey, you are giving, you see, you want to give it your best shot. You are getting it. So
Okay. And then we choose the algorithm we're going to use. Then we'll, we'll do what's involved to train our model with the algorithm we selected.
okay. So because like the various types of algorithm, they all have different syntax and different approach to them. So like you said, is when you decide on the algorithm to use, then you know the next step to use. So at least you've given it a good try. So thank you, Ella, for that. But generally, have we been able to try them? Because we've been given assignments. So after using the data set on the assignments, we should push ourselves even further to download other data sets with similar or similarities to the one that was given to us. So it won't be too far off. So we could check, like, if you are working on um, supervised and unsupervised. So you could check for, just the basic one you need in supervised. You'll be sure that there's input and there's output. So that's the best first out approach. Then for unsupervised learning, it has no target outputs or inputs column. No, it has no target output column. Sorry. So like output column can be said maybe yes or no, something like that is what you see. Once you see a data set that has that column in terms of yes, no, one, two, or zero and ones, where zero is the no and one is the yes, or either ways. So data sets like that are what you can use for supervised learning. So like the assignment that I was given, you can use data sets, get data sets from all these free free data sets, free sites that have millions of data sets. So you could get from there, work with the available data set and try something new with it. So just to check what you've learned, just copy, use the same syntax. Might just be, okay, if this is the title of this data set, you just know the new data set title is what you use to replace it. So just follow the same approach to compare if you're able to come out with a successful output to accuracy level. So we should not feel scared of trying, just getting new data sets. We try our hands on them to see our progress level. And once you're done, you can always put them like proper documentation format and use them as your portfolio. So because portfolio is like the digital world now, all these new roles, be it data analysis, software related roles, the portfolio document is what a new employer or someone willing to give you a contract will just look at to understand what you've done and how you can be able to support their team or their company. So we should always have that in mind to sell ourselves the best possible way. That was it. So in terms of the other days left, so what direction of travel do you want? What approach do you want us to follow? So from Monday, we'll be able to put in what's like corrections or anything you might want us to be aware of and how to approach them. So you feel free to unmute yourself and just talk. Okay. So I'll just give a little introduction of the next topic. So regression is like, as Ubike said, so it's part of the supervised learning. So in regression, it just needs to predict how much or how many. So examples, so real life examples of regression, predicting house prices based on size, locations, and features, forecasting sales revenue for the next quarter, and estimating a person's weight from their health and age. So if data analysis is quite broad because we have different industries. We have the health sector, we have the private sector. Under the private, we have the likes of big time manufacturers in the oil and gas. Then we also have sales data sets, and we have likes of fintech. So they too, they also generate data sets. Then if you're working in telecommunications, they also have their own data set as well. So each sector is always in need of an analyst or a data analyst to help them analyze their data to the best possible way. So when carrying out tasks, we should always have in mind the best be it the sector you're working in. Let's say you are working in the healthcare sector, so you understand what the sector is all about and be able to provide the best possible visualization to them. Then if it's in the community safety aspect, we know there's also a way to present the data set. So, but basically, if you have idea of data analysis in general, it's easy for you to walk into any sector or be employed in any sector and carry out the various tasks that is expected of you. So types of regression models, we have linear, we have multiple linear, we have polynomials, and we have ridge regression and also logistic regression. So logistic regression is just for classification. Then linear is just a straight line relationship between the input and the output. So for linear, examples of linear can be predicting incomes based on years of experience. So that's a straightforward task because they're just working with the input and the output. So the relationship between the two. So then for multiple linear, you can say predicting house prices based on the area, location, and number of rooms. So here we have various variables that we are considering. Then the polynomial one can be predicting car value depreciation over time. So instead of a straight line graph, it could be a curve or something like that. So for logistic regression, it could be predicting probabilities by binary outcomes, so the yes and no's and the zeros and ones. So those are the basic types of regression models that we could work on and the possible real life examples. So can any of us tell us what correlation is in machine learning? Do we have any idea what correlation means? So it's just like if you're given a data set, at times you might be asked to say, how are they correlated? So it helps to determine the strength and direction of a relationship between the variables in a data set. So when you do the line of code and everything, it comes out in a way with zeros and ones. So when the output is zeros, it means the data set are not correlated. But if it's positive one, it means there is a perfect correlation between the columns of the data set. But the negative angle, it means is a negative correlation. So we can just have that at the back of our mind. There's also like a line of code for you to check how correlated a data set is. You also use them basically during the exploratory data analysis as well to see the relationship between the columns of the data set, and mainly when they are used for specific like an analysis. So you can just see how they are correlated and it's easier for you. So you don't just run the lines of code and get into the end of where you need to get like your accuracy or the output. You get to understand that the data set are not related, are not so well related. So it won't give you like a best output or the best solution to the task that's been assigned. So do we have any question? Feel free to ask. So for Monday, we can progress with this and maybe have a task that can be done or review from the previous task that Chinedu gave us. Do we have any questions? Or hello?
No question
None
from
from
my
me.
end.
Okay. So thank you for joining today. We can try our hands on any tax or new data sets using the link. So just try new things, and if you have any challenge or any question, you can drop it in the chat and one of us will pick it up from there. So thank you all for tuning in. Do enjoy the rest of your evening and weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Uche. Thank you, Stanley.
Okay, so thanks everyone. I guess